In the evening, the main party was ready to begin. Jinwon was pushing the cake cart towards the main character of the night, Juk-ki. Everyone around clapped their hands in rhythm and sang, "Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday to you!" The atmosphere was lively and joyful. Juk-ki closed her eyes to make a wish before blowing out the candles, welcoming a new age and new experiences in life. Aki and her boyfriend Jinwon cut the birthday cake together, looking like a real couple. Juk-ki warmly greeted her classmates, being very attentive throughout the evening, inviting everyone to eat cake. "Eat a lot of cake today with me. Let's enjoy and have fun." Jinbing-seol approached Aki from behind and said, "Aki, do you have a moment? I need to talk to you." Curious about what Jinbing-seol wanted to discuss privately, Juk-ki followed her out to the balcony. Jinbing-seol began, "Aki, I think you should keep your distance from Jinwon. It's for the best." "Why?" Aki responded. Jinbing-seol explained, "Jinwon has been involved with many female students at school. I hope you don't fall into his emotional trap." Raising her glass of wine and taking a sip, Jinbing-seol continued seriously, "Moreover, I'm about to graduate. I intend to hand over the position of student council president to you." Hearing this, Aki was extremely surprised, thinking to herself about taking over the president's position. She recalled the numerous disagreements she had with Jinbing-seol in the student council, their differing views, and how neither of them ever backed down. Yet now, Jinbing-seol wanted her to take the president's role. Sweating nervously, Aki thought, could it be true? Is Jinbing-seol really a lesbian as rumored, and she's had her eye on me for a long time? Scared by this thought, Aki quickly waved her hands in refusal. "Actually, I have always respected you. I don't think I have the capability to be the student council president. Besides, Jinwon isn't like you think." Jinbing-seol looked at her little sister acting crazy and felt puzzled, not understanding why Aki had that expression on her face. Jinbing-seol stepped closer, her face serious as she spoke to Aki. "My decision is final. There's no need for further discussion. Love can blind people. Look at yourself right now. You don't resemble a high-ranking student council officer with discipline and seriousness." Aki, feeling a bit intimidated by her sister's overwhelming presence, hesitantly replied, "Actually, I've been thinking about resigning from the student council. That way, I could spend more time with Jinwon." She dreamed of a school romance like those in popular novels lately, involving a top student and a campus goddess, or a domineering president and the student council vice president. Hearing this, Jinbing-seol's face turned furious as she shouted, "Foolish! How can you be so careless? Where is your sense of responsibility and career ambition? That scoundrel has truly done a number on you. Poor, innocent girls like you getting caught up in a love spiral with a jerk like him." System notification. Jinbing-seol's favorability decreased by 5. Jinbing-seol's favorability decreased by 5. Current favorability, -90. Meanwhile, Jinwon, who was eating cake inside, suddenly choked and coughed, feeling uneasy without knowing why. He glanced at the two talking on the balcony and thought, "What did I do to offend her now? Can't I even eat cake without causing trouble? Another 10 points deducted from favorability?" As the party neared its end, Aki was busy seeing her friends off with great care. "Has the car arrived? Be careful on your way home. Thank you, everyone." She then called out to Jinwon, "Wait a moment." Nervously, Aki stammered, I have something to tell you." Every party eventually comes to an end. Jinwon, after being held back by Juk-ki for a private talk, also had to leave. He couldn't stay longer. As he casually spun his necklace, he thought about Juk-ki. She becomes cuter every day, especially after mastering her powers. Recalling their conversation, he noticed how she blushed and stammered, looking flustered. "She just asked me to see a movie tomorrow. But with that expression, I thought she was going to ask me to stay the night." As he imagined it, his nose started bleeding uncontrollably. This dirty mind of mine, always thinking about inappropriate things. Suddenly, the sound of crying filled the air. Jinwon felt a chill run down his spine, making his hair stand on end. It turned out to be Dang Sumun, also known as the Wild Wolf, notorious for breaking the hearts of hot girls. He was sitting next to his Ferrari, crying. Dang Suman lamented, "If I can't have her, what's the point of this good looks, this Ferrari, or playing the piano day and night? Might as well give it all up." Seeing the familiar face, Jinwon sighed in relief. Hey, isn't that Dang Suman putting on a one-man show? Why hasn't he left yet? Damn, I thought I saw a ghost. An idea popped into Jinwon's head. He climbed onto the Ferrari, suddenly appearing in front of Dang Suman. "Hello, senior. Surprised to see me?" Dang Suman was startled, almost wetting himself, and screamed, "A ghost! Are you Jinwon?" Jinwon replied, "Dang Suman still remembers my name. You're quite approachable, aren't you, senior? But seriously, wasn't it just a game you lost to me? Why are you crying?" Jinwon thought to himself, there's nothing to be ashamed of for losing to a system with enhancement points. Dang Suman, feeling heated, wanted to vent all his pent-up frustration and pain, shouting, "What do you mean? What do you mean by that look of disdain? Are you looking down on me?" Jinwon calmly got down and said, No, senior, don't be so sensitive. I just ate a bit too much, that's all." The wild wolf angrily retorted, "I admit, you filthy bastard, that you can play the piano better than me. But so what? Look at the reality. How could Juki be with a sewer rat like you? My family background, wealth, and status are things you'll never be able to reach in your lifetime. Don't even think about comparing. I'm wearing an outer coat worth 4.8 million, an inner shirt worth 1.8 million, an LV necklace worth 3.8 million, Gucci pants worth 1.7 million, and this Ferrari costs 4 million RMB. Dang Suman took out his car keys, smugly grinning. "Jinwon, you look like a loser. You probably don't have money for a taxi, do you? Let me give you a ride. Pity a poor soul like you, and let you experience the smell of a 4 million RMB car, But then, Dang Suman felt something was off. Turning to look, he saw Jinwon opening the door of the Ferrari. What? Dang Suman's face darkened as he crushed his car keys in his hand. Reflecting on his recent actions, he felt genuinely embarrassed. He then knelt down, lamenting, "Why is it that you wear cheap clothes bought off the street, yet drive a Ferrari? Oh my God, I'm blind. Seriously, this guy is wearing the same outfit from when he went out with that rain-soaked girl, Surakrak, and hasn't changed since. The author of this story is really lazy, not taking care of the main character's wardrobe even though he has lots of money." Jinwon, without anyone to care for him, got into the car and drove off, thinking, "What movie should we watch tomorrow? Should I wear a short-sleeve shirt or a tank top? Or maybe a Gucci wolf hoodie and some ripped jeans? To look like a hot boy." In the distance, a familiar figure caught his eye. Isn't that Jinbing Seol? What's she doing there alone at this hour? The temperature difference between day and night is huge this season. If she dresses like that, she'll catch a cold. But Jinwon laughed coldly, thinking, "But that's not my problem. Let that crazy witch freeze to death, As he drove past Jinbing Seol, he thought, "Goodbye, senior. If you could lower your liking towards me even more, I wouldn't care." But then, looking in the rearview mirror, Jinwon saw a group of thugs harassing Jinbing Seol. Here it is, an opportunity to tame the witch. "Hey, pretty lady, going alone at night is dangerous. How about we become your bodyguards and ensure you get home safely?" Jinbing Seol glared at them with utmost disdain. The oldest of the group, presumably their leader, approached her, trying to touch her. He laughed sinisterly, "Hey, free bodyguards. All you have to do is have some fun with us." Jinbing Seol angrily pushed the man away and shouted, "What are you guys doing? If you keep this up, I'll call the police." The thugs looked at each other and then burst into laughter. "Haha, the police? Haha, did you hear that, guys? She wants to call the police." The leader, with a lecherous grin, said, "A feisty one, ha! Playing with you will be fun." But his expression quickly changed to one of pain and misery as he groaned, "Ouch, damn it." It turned out that the witch had kicked him straight in the groin. The two quail eggs felt like they were cracking. The underlings were shocked, eyes wide and mouths agape. "Boss, are you okay?" they asked as the leader clutched his groan, trembling and shouting. Catch that bitch and bring her to me. Taking advantage of the chaos, Jinbing started to run. The thugs, now enraged, chased after her. As she ran, Jinbing thought to herself, a bunch of filthy, despicable animals. If there weren't so many of them, I could definitely take them down with my combat skills. I have to run and call for help. Because she was constantly glancing back at her pursuers, she didn't see Jinwan and collided with him. Their eyes met. Are you okay? Jinwan asked. Is that him? What's he doing here? Jinbing wondered. By now, the thugs had caught up and surrounded Jinwan and Jinbing. They looked cocky, except for the leader who was still trembling and pointing. You dirty bitch. Keep running. Today, I'll make you pay for hurting my little bird. Jinbing bit her lip in anger, thinking, despicable men, none of them are any good. And this one is no different. If it weren't for him, I would have escaped by now. He's useless. At this moment, Jinwan spoke up. That's enough, guys. Society is governed by laws, not by your thuggery. I'll give you 2 minutes to leave. The leader, still confident, retorted, a hero saving the damsel in distress? Who the hell do you think you are? What, you think you're gonna VAR this situation? Bring it on. In the moonlit night, the sounds of punches and kicks filled the air. As the dust settled, the thugs lay in a heap, defeated by Jinwan, who stood tall without a scratch on him. Jinwan arrogantly dusted off his hands and said, You're not dogs, so why don't you understand human language? You should have just listened. If you like it, then go ahead and leave. Turning to Jinbing, Jinwan said, Jinbing, are you okay? In Jinwan's mind, his heroic rescue would surely make her feel grateful and moved. Life isn't like a dream. The system promptly notified him. Jinbing's favorability decreased by 5 points. Current favorability, minus 95 points. Jinwan stood there, stunned for 5 seconds, coughing up blood. He looked at the witch's angry face, her eyebrows furrowed, and thousands of question marks filled his mind. He couldn't understand what she was thinking about him. He had just saved her from those thugs, but instead of being grateful, her favorability towards him had plummeted. Heroic rescues? More like rescuing the wrong witch. Her eyes were filled with suspicion. Did she think the recent events were not a coincidence? Did she believe he had some ulterior motive? Jinwan thought to himself, Sis, saving you was a mistake. Not only didn't your favorability increase, it dropped significantly. With a score of minus 95 points, do you think of me as nothing more than dirt? I almost want to bite her. Jinbing spoke up, Jinwan, do you find this amusing? Do you think I'll fall for you like those other girls? Why do I randomly call for a car and encounter thugs, and then you coincidentally appear to save me? You overestimate your own intelligence and underestimate mine. She stepped forward and grabbed his collar. Jinwan shouted, Aki gave up even the position of student council president for you. Why do you go to such great lengths to woo me? Scum like you disgust me. Jinwan, having heard this all, felt like water was being poured over his head. He didn't understand what was going on. She was misunderstanding him, thinking he was an accomplice to those thugs. What? This is too much. Does she have paranoia? He thought. Jinwan wanted to get closer to explain, No, listen to me, it's really not. The witch coldly replied, No need to explain. I hope you treat Aki well. If you try to act smart again, I'll make sure you. Hearing this, Jinwan felt like he had been stabbed by an arrow and stood motionless for a long time, not saying anything. The thug leader, waking from his daze and still unsure why he was lying there, got up only to be met with a thunderous kick from Jinwan. He spat blood as Jinwan, immensely frustrated, shouted, What bad luck! Next time, I won't bother with other people's business. I'll just go home, play some games and sleep. No point in getting angry and hurting myself. By the way, did I kick something just now? Whatever, forget it. Scene transition. In front of the university campus, Jinwan was on his way back to the male dormitory. Despite wanting to find some peace of mind, he still couldn't swallow the anger from earlier. The more he thought about it, the more frustrated he became. He had really shown her respect. His phone rang. The ringtone was a girl singing, Your story unfolds because of you, learning patience and changing bad habits for you. Jinwon looked at his smartphone, wondering who was calling so late. It was Yakyu. On the other end, Yakyu's voice came through. Jinwon, are you free tomorrow? Huh? What's up? She replied, tomorrow, I happen to have no classes and want to invite you to watch a movie. Jinwon felt a bit uneasy hearing this. He responded with a non-committal ah, but thought to himself, tomorrow, Joki also asked me to watch a movie. Double booked. I can't just reject Yakyu, but I also can't stand Joki up. What to do? The next morning, Jinwon arrived in his Ferrari, looking incredibly cool in front of Hode University. He was texting his best friend, Yu Moonchio. You're keeping me waiting quite a while. Are you planning to ditch me or what? Jinwon typed. Yu Moonchio replied, I'm almost there, almost there. Just wait a bit longer. Although Jinwon was slightly annoyed at his friend's rubber time, he remembered how pitiful Yu Moonchio looked the previous night. Feeling a bit sorry for his fate of constantly being teased by girls, Yu Moonchio had cried all night, recounting his woes to Jinwon. Jinwon, I asked a girl out to a movie but got rejected. I already bought the tickets. Will you go with me? Jinwon, patting his head, thought, today was supposed to be a movie date with President Aki, and then with Muse Soyakyu. Who would have thought I'd end up seeing 3 movies in one day? Jinwon rubbed his chin, smiling smugly. Well, who told him to be my good brother? He used to help me out with food money. A brother today, a brother for life. So, he scheduled his friend at 2 p.m., Jokyai at 5 p.m., and Soyakyu at 8 p.m. Although it was supposed to be a fun day, he felt a bit tired. He really needed to manage his time well today. It seemed he would end up watching 3 movies in one date for the sake of unfinished business. The car door suddenly swung open. Jinwon, expecting it to be his friend Yu Moonchio, turned around and asked, Yu Moonchio, why are you so? Only to realize the person stepping in was not Yu Moonchio, but a well-made-up woman. Jinwon blinked in surprise and said, who are you? The woman turned towards him nonchalantly. Oh, sorry, I was so focused on my makeup that I got into the wrong car. She added with a smirk. But I must say, this situation is quite interesting. Jinwon observed her with suspicion. Oh, it's fine. Just get out of the car and be more careful next time. She seemed momentarily stunned, her demeanor suggesting that she wasn't used to being treated so coldly. She struck a seductive pose, placing a light hand on her full lips, and displayed a flirtatious expression with a touch of mischief. Inwardly, she thought, get out. If I get out, how will I seduce him? A handsome guy driving such a nice car is an opportunity no one should pass up. Only a fool would let this chance slip away. She thought of Jinwon as a knave lamb and continued her advance, sweetly extending her phone. Hey, can I add you on WeChat? I feel like we have a special connection. Maybe fate brought us together. Out of all the people, I'm the only one who ended up in the wrong car. Jinwon took out his phone and said, oh, sorry, I don't have WeChat. She felt as if another stone had hit her head. Unaware that the person in front of her was a wolf in sheep's clothing, Jinwon's face showed a cunning smile. He thought to himself, unlike traditional, uncivilized men like Yu Moonchio, we sophisticated men will never fall into a woman's trap. Frustrated and losing her patience, the woman stormed out of the car, fuming, fine, you're just a jerk. You think you're so clever. I'm getting out now. At that moment, Moonchio arrived and saw Sool. He said with recognition, oh, so it's you. No wonder I smelled something odd. Yu Moonchio then asked Sool, aren't you supposed to be visiting your mother at the hospital this afternoon? How come you're here in my friend's car? Did you lie to me? Jinwon suddenly realized that this was the same girl who had rejected Yu Moonchio's movie invitation. He hurriedly got out of the car. Moonchio, let me explain, she and I. Yu Moonchio, clearly angry, cut him off. She's a stranger with no relation to us. She saw my friend's Ferrari and tried to latch onto him. But since he isn't interested, she was told to leave. They have nothing to do with each other. It's just her being shameless. Am I right? Having seen his friend being deceived by women before, Moonchio had suddenly become more perceptive. Jinwon nodded vigorously. Yes, that's exactly right. Yu Moonchio then got back into the car and slammed the door shut. The car slowly drove away, leaving Soul standing there in shock. She thought, I can't believe Yu Moonchio knows someone so wealthy. I thought he was just a broke guy with a measly allowance. She sighed and said to herself, well then, I guess I'll just join the T-Girls team. Scene change. In a bustling shopping mall, Jinwon and Yu Moonchio were sitting together watching a movie. However, Yu Moonchio remained unsettled. Jinwon, am I really that unappealing? Why is it that you always have girls around you while my love life seems so unsuccessful? Feeling distressed, Yu Moonchio expressed his frustration. Meanwhile, Jinwon was engrossed in the movie and replied, how would I know? But why chase after girls? Do you lack ancestral support or something? Behind them, two girls were whispering to each other about the pair. It's odd. Two guys going to the movies together. Keep it down. They might be gay. The one showing early interest is usually the weaker one. Love is like a battlefield. It's not a game, it's a bloody knife. After numerous failed attempts with girls, Jinwon had accumulated so much experience and knowledge that he could write volumes on the subject. He was a master among masters, perfectly suited to give a few tips to a novice like Moonchio. Jinwon said seriously, the more you chase after girls, the more they'll see you as cheap. The key is not in the tactics, but in whether you are strong enough yourself. The aura of a successful person shines around them. Jinwon confidently stated that spending money on girls is foolish. Spending money for a girl to see is the mark of a true man. His words seemed to illuminate Yu Moonchio, who was stunned to realize that his friend's advice was surprisingly persuasive. Immediately, Yu Moonchio took Jinwon's hand and said, Master, now that I understand, please teach me how to become stronger. Yu Moonchio, calm down. Don't act like that. People are watching, Jinwon replied. The two girls sitting behind them in the theater had shifted their attention to the emotional drama unfolding in front of them. They were whispering about the two mesmerized men, noting that their attention was so focused it was almost comical. Jinwon, with a smirk, told Yu Moonchio, I don't have anything to teach you. I'm just a bit more handsome than you, a bit richer, and have a few more girlfriends. Actually, it's quite hard for me too. For ordinary guys like you, it's really difficult to experience. Although his words didn't physically harm Yu Moonchio, they were highly humiliating. Yu Moonchio, increasingly frustrated with his friend, scowled and said, Stop talking, or I might not be able to hold myself back from hitting you. Jinwon fell silent and continued watching the movie, fearing that soon he would no longer be sitting in a Ferrari, but in a cardboard box floating on the water. After a while, Jinwon, feeling relieved, said, I feel much better now. I've been bothering you a lot recently. If there's an opportunity later, I'll make it up to you. Jinwon cut him off, saying, No need to wait. You need to repay me right away. Jinwon held Moonchio's hands and said, In about 2 hours, call me. That would be a big help. Yu Moonchio, puzzled, asked, Why? Two girls who had just left the theater were excitedly chatting about how Jinwon and Yu Moonchio were actually a couple. Jinwon didn't elaborate further, leaving Yu Moonchio confused. The reason was simple. Jinwon had just managed to escape from Joki to go on a date with Soyaku. The scene then shifts to another shopping mall. Jinwon, relieved to have arrived in time, saw his date, Aki, eagerly waiting. It's almost time, where have you been? Aki asked. Just as Jinwon was about to approach, a girl with hair styled like a mop waved at Aki and said, Hello, I'm Opaka. I've seen you standing here for a while. Can I have your wet cat? Aki apologized, saying, Sorry, I have an appointment. It's really inconvenient. The vendor remained persistent. I'm truly sorry, but I just want to add you on WeChat. I won't disturb your appointment. If you find me annoying, you can delete the contact. At least I'll have fulfilled my wish. Standing behind, the vendor patted Aki's shoulder lightly and said, Man, the girl has already rejected you. Persisting won't make it interesting. Jinwon winked and said, All right, let me show you how to flirt properly. Jinwon approached Aki, adopting a cool pose that made her feel extremely shy and flustered. Jinwon spoke softly, "You're really beautiful. Can we find a quieter place to have a deeper conversation?" The vendor, with a scowl, looked at Jinwon and thought, "Is that all? Is this what makes you a rogue? If it works, then that's surprising." Aki sweetly responded, "Sure." Hearing this, the vendor felt as though a spear had pierced through him. The knowledge of flirting passed down through his family seemed insignificant compared to Jinwon's method. Green beans, what's this? But it actually works. In the afternoon, Jinwon and Aki went into the theater holding hands. They were watching a movie that was in a highly dramatic moment. Aki looked at Jinwon with suspicion. Little did she know, this was the second time he had watched this movie today. "Haha," Aki said, "Jinwon, aren't you interested in this movie? I keep seeing you looking at your phone." It was as if she'd hit the nail on the head. Jinwon panicked, sweating profusely, and waved his hand to explain. "Oh no, it's just that. The family business is quite busy, and I'm a bit worried." The family. Aki looked at Jinwon and thought, he must be under a lot of pressure inheriting such a large fortune. Ordinary people like us live without worries, but he has to bear so much. Others only see Jinwon's exceptional piano skills and don't realize the effort he puts in behind the scenes. His remarkable skills were proven when he handled that lobster vendor. It's a result of rigorous training. Growing up, he reaped the fruits of his labor. As someone who has received noble education and has been elite since a young age, he never complains about hardship and silently shoulders his responsibilities. As Aki thought and cried, she lamented, he's working so hard, and here I am, selfishly taking up his time, asking him to watch a movie with me. I'm such a wicked woman." Surprisingly, Aki took Jinwon's hand, and Jinwon was taken aback. He looked at her with a face that seemed on the verge of breaking down, but struggled to contain his emotions. He thought to himself, "Isn't this an action movie? Why is she crying so much?" After a while, the two walked arm in arm down the street. Aki said, "Jinwon, are you hungry? How about we find a place to eat?" Just as Jinwon was about to respond, his phone rang. It was a message from Yu Moonchio. "I don't want to see your hand get hurt too." Jinwon smiled inwardly, thinking, Yu Moonchio really is a good buddy, calling at just the right time. Jinwon switched into his Oscar-worthy acting mode and said, "Hello, Yu Moonchio? What? Something serious? I'll come right away." Aki, standing behind him, was puzzled, wondering what could be so serious. Jinwon ended the call, causing Yu Moonchio to be confused. Jinwon said, "I have to leave. Something has come up with my friend." Aki responded, "It's okay, if you have something to do, go ahead. I'm fine. You go help your friend first." As Jinwon left, Aki couldn't help but sigh. His friend must be in some serious trouble. He's such a good man with a sense of responsibility. In the car, Jinwon thought, "I'm really a genius. Next, I need to hurry to the next movie." At 8 p.m., Jinwon arrived at the apartment building to meet Saku. He texted, "I've arrived at your new place." She replied, "Okay, I'll come down. Wait for me 2 minutes." Jinwon rubbed his forehead, tired, and thought, "Finally, just one more movie. What a tiring day. Next time, I won't run so many errands in one day." Suddenly, he heard someone call Jinwon. It was Saku, looking graceful in her elegant outfit. "Sorry for making you wait so long." Jinwon stared without blinking, mesmerized by her adorable and sweet appearance. He thought, "She looks so beautiful today, I'm drooling." Saku, able to pull off various styles with ease, was truly exceptional. Seeing Jinwon in a daze, Saku said, "Let's go." He snapped back to reality and said, "Oh, right, let's go." As he looked at her smiling, his cheeks flushed. If today went well, there was a chance he might take another step forward with this classmate. The two enjoyed a very pleasant date, from watching a movie to eating barbecue on the sidewalk. Jinwon was definitely the type to move on quickly. His demeanor with Saku was completely different from how he was with Juki. "It's just unfortunate for me, having been lonely for over 2 years with no romantic relationships, only close friends. It's so hard for me." Later in the evening, Jinwon had dropped Soyaku off at her apartment. Soyaku said, "Jinwon, you should go home and get some rest. Thank you for spending time with me until late. I had a lot of fun." Jinwon suddenly spoke up, "Soyaku, can I come in for a drink?" He scratched his face, embarrassed, and said, "I won't do anything, I swear, haha." Soyaku also blushed and, inside her apartment, awkwardly hugged a pillow on the sofa, thinking, "What's going on today? This isn't like me. I just planned to have a drink and then leave, but now he's finished his drink and says it's too late to go home, so he wants to stay the night." And I agreed. If he asks for anything more, what should I do? If it's with him, it doesn't seem impossible. What am I thinking? Feeling embarrassed, Yaku buried her face in the pillow. But then, she suddenly noticed something in Jinwon's bag. She grabbed the movie tickets in anger. Why were there 4 tickets? Had he gone to the movies with other girls? Jinwon was in big trouble now. He could jump into the river, and it wouldn't wash away his guilt. She thought she was making progress tonight, but it seemed it was all for nothing. A while later, Jinwon came out after taking a shower, unaware of the situation. He casually said, "I've washed them already." But he suddenly realized something was wrong. Normally, Soyaku's face would show some shyness, but instead, she looked angry. He then noticed the 4 movie tickets on the table. Soyaku angrily confronted Jinwon. "Why are there 4 movie tickets in your bag? What's going on? Did you go to the movies with other girls today? If you don't like me, you could have just turned me down. Why come into my life only to date other girls? Are you toying with my feelings? Have you thought about how I feel?" Jinwon stood there, stunned, continuing to stammer and explain. Soyaku couldn't contain her anger, and, unable to believe that the guy she trusted and thought their relationship would be perfect had turned out this way, shouted, pointing to the door, "Get out of here! I don't want to see you anymore." The system immediately notified. Soyaku's favorability decreased by 10. Soyaku's favorability decreased by 10. Favorability with the remaining candidate, 75. Jinwon was extremely shocked upon seeing this. He was trembling, thinking, "What kind of messed up situation is this?" But instead of being angry, he felt a wicked thrill. He had been expecting this so he could continue spending money. After all, the favorability drop wasn't too severe. There should be a significant turnaround soon. Jinwon continued to play the role of a pitiful victim, lamenting, "So it turns out you don't trust me at all. Even a few movie tickets can make all my efforts to pursue you useless." Yaku was infuriated, thinking Jinwon was still making excuses for himself. Jinwon slowly pulled out his phone and called his friend Yumunchio, saying, "Ask Yumunchio if I went to the movies with him today." Yumunchio, still half asleep, groggily answered, "Hello." Yaku, still pondering, wanted to see what excuses Jinwon would come up with. Yumunchio, still drowsy, mumbled, "Jinwon, it's so late. What are you doing? Why aren't you answering?" Yaku spoke up, "I'm Soyaku. Yumunchio, I want to ask if Jinwon went to the movies with you today." Yumunchio, now fully awake, exclaimed loudly, "Wait, isn't this my buddy's phone? Why do you have it? Were you 2 together?" He continued shouting, "That bastard Jinwon. Has he already seduced the goddess Yaku? Damn it, I can't believe this." Jinwon and Yaku were stunned by the outburst. Jinwon grimaced, thinking, "I can't have this kind of friend anymore." Yaku said, "All right, it's fine. I'll let you rest. Goodbye, Yumunchio." She thought, "Do you think I misunderstood him? No. Even if Yumunchio covers for him, I'll confirm it again." Yaku decided to call Sool. "Hello, I'm Soyaku. Did Yumunchio invite you to the movies today?" Sool replied, "Yes, he did invite me, but I declined. I even saw a handsome guy in a Ferrari come to pick me up. If I had known he had such connections, I would have accepted. What a pity." Jinwon, with a hurt expression, said, "Have you confirmed it multiple times? Do you want to check the payment information on the phone?" "I don't." Soyaku seemed to have confirmed that Jinwon was not lying. She hesitated and said, "Jinwon, oh." Jinwon turned away and said, Yaku, I'm truly disappointed in you today. I didn't expect you to not trust me. Soyaku said, Jinwon, I was wrong. Please don't be angry. I shouldn't have misunderstood you. Please forgive me. Jinwon slammed the door as he left, showing his anger. Outside the door, Jinwon was sweating profusely, thinking, that was risky. Luckily, I was prepared. Otherwise, my cover would have been blown this time. Indeed, Jinwon, if he weren't an actor, it would be a waste. To know the truth, he could only cry. Hoo-hoo. The next morning at Hode University, Soyaku proactively sent a message apologizing to Jinwon. I misunderstood you last night. You were right. We should trust each other. I've reflected on my actions. Can you forgive me? Jinwon replied, it's okay. Yaku, this is also my fault for not explaining things clearly. I'm sorry too. Soyaku felt relieved, thinking Jinwon was truly a warm-hearted guy. Even though it was her fault, he Shudong apologized. The system then displayed the following notifications. Soyaku's favorability increased by 10. Soyaku's favorability increased by 10. Soyaku's favorability increased by 1. Soyaku's favorability with the candidate reached 96, with a reward of 10 enhancement points. Seeing this, Jinwon sighed in relief. It's back up again, even higher by 1 point. He held his head, blaming himself. I can't let this happen again. I'd almost ruined everything myself. This is a reminder to separate the subjects of attachment. I think this harem is of excellent quality. Each one is top-notch he. Jinwon grinned wickedly, thinking about which individuals to maintain good relations with and how to ensure the favorability was high enough that they were completely devoted to him. He imagined a day when all his women would be tamed by him, without any resistance, and everything he said could resolve any issue. He was thrilled, thinking of the perfect harem dream. Jinwon could no longer hide his lascivious expression, laughing maniacally. Only a child would choose me. I'm the one who gets everything, haha. Who doesn't have a harem dream? At this moment, 2 female classmates walked by and overheard a conversation. Did you hear that Dang Suman sponsored the school basketball team for the strongest passerby competition? The girl in front replied excitedly, yes, yes. Even in our school gym, there are a lot of handsome guys on the basketball team. Let's go see. Jinwon, who was eavesdropping, thought to himself, Dang Suman, the strongest guy? Sounds interesting. I'll go check it out. As Jinwon entered the gym, he was immediately struck by the sea of people watching the basketball game. Dang Suman was in action, and a group of fangirls were cheering loudly. We love you, Dang Suman. Go, Dang Suman. I want to have wolf cubs with you. Jinwon felt overwhelmed by the noise. He thought that Dang Suman's competition seemed like it was just to show off. This wild wolf probably hired a bunch of actors to make him look good. Seriously, what's wrong with him? Across from Jinwon, he spotted familiar faces. Sura Crack and Green Tea. Seedong was there too. It had been a while since Jinwon had seen Sura Crack. She spotted Jinwon and exclaimed, Ah, Jinwon. Seedong also intended to call out to him, but turned around to find Sura Crack had vanished. She approached Jinwon, saying, You're here too. What a coincidence. It's been a long time. I missed you so much. Jinwon responded, Ray Crack, you're here too. Green Tea, watching from the side, was extremely annoyed. What's this? She forgets our agreement when she sees Jinwon. From behind, someone placed a hand on Jinwon's shoulder. He turned to see Heijian. Heijian sweetly said, Jinwon, you like basketball too? Jinwon was sweating nervously, thinking, oh no, another person. 2 friends outside were discussing. Is that Sura Crack? She's so pretty. Who's that guy? The person next to them replied, oh, that's Jinwon from the literature department. One of them added, look at Heijian. She completely ignores her ex-boyfriend for Jinwon. A voice suddenly spoke up. You guys are talking behind a girl's back like this. It's really disgusting. It was Jinbing Seol, accompanied by Juk Ji. The 2 friends were startled. President, please spare us. We won't do it again. Please forgive us. Jinbing Seol said, men are really disgusting. "This place stinks." Juki replied, all right. Let's stop talking and watch the game." The wild wolf, sensing Jinwan's presence, thought, "Damn Jinwan, why is he here too? There are so many girls around him. Are they blind? They can't see how hot I am?" Just then, Aki was also there. "Here's my chance for revenge," he thought. The flames of revenge were burning in him. He smiled, thinking, "I've been training in basketball for 2.5 years. This chicken Jinwan can't possibly beat me." He immediately put all his strength into throwing the ball towards Jinwan. Jinwan, reacting like lightning, caught the ball. "Dang Suman, what's your intention? Are you trying to get revenge on me for losing at piano by sneaking an attack? That's so childish." A teammate nearby chimed in, "Suman, you're not even worthy of revenge. Dare to go one-on-one with me. I'll give you a 3-ball advantage." Another teammate added, "Are you kidding? Look at this kid, he's just a wimp. He probably doesn't even know how to play basketball. This is just another way for him to dig his own grave. Who likes getting slapped in the face like this?" "Haha," someone commented. Inside the Hode campus, the cheers were deafening, and the excitement of the match was undeniable. Jinwan firmly held the ball and threw it back to Dangsuman. "Since you like to play, let's play together," Jinwan said coolly. Dangsuman was still standing there, imagining the scene of Jinwan being humiliated in front of everyone. He thought of how Jinwan looked down on him, but something felt off. The throw was like a cannon shot, and Dangsuman was stunned. He barely managed to say, "What the heck?" Aki, standing outside, was incredibly proud of his boyfriend's impressive skills. "Wow, Dangsuman is the captain of the basketball team, and he couldn't handle Jinwan's throw." The girl, Jinbing-seol, had a look of disdain and said, "Only brute strength? Men love to fight." Dangsuman, after taking the cannon shot, was now gasping for air, nearly visiting his ancestors. His friends rushed to him, asking, "Captain, are you okay?" Dangsuman thought to himself, the force was too strong. This kid Jinwan looks so weak, but he has such power. Jinwan stepped forward confidently and said, "What's so interesting about one-on-one? How about we go 5-on-5? Let me see the skills of the captain of the Hode basketball team, whether it's just a name or real ability." Hearing this, the beauties in Jinwan's harem and the entire audience were shocked. The wild wolf was also a bit taken aback by Jinwan's domineering attitude. He thought, "What do you mean, 5-on-5? All the team members and referees are actors I hired. He actually wants to play 5-on-5 with me. Stupid Jinwan, this isn't 5-on-5. It's 1 versus 9. You'll definitely lose." After a while, as preparations were completed, both teams took their positions, ready for the match. "Hello, I'm your commentator. I'll be live reporting the game between the Wild Wolf team starting on the right side of your screen and the one-man team, Simju Jinwan, along with 4 wooden planks on the left side of your screen." The match began. Dangsuman was the one to start, initiating the attack. Dangsuman dribbled the ball skillfully and thought to himself, "Haha, let's see how I can teach this rookie a lesson. Wait until I smash your face in. Aki will see who's really worthy of her." The 3 wolves, players of the Wild Wolf team, successfully surrounded and blocked Jinwan, clearing the way for their captain to advance towards the Voop. Jinwan thought, "Dangsuman, you think I don't know? Everyone on the court is an actor you hired. Why do you even need teammates? I'll take all of you on by myself." Using his system, Jinwan increased his basketball skills to 35 degrees, proficiently showing off. The crowd continued to cheer, and the fans shouted for their captain. "I love you, Dangsuman." Dangsuman smirked triumphantly. "Haha, this is my time to shine." He used his most impressive dunking posture to finish the play. Dangsuman jumped high and roared, creating an impressive atmosphere for his dunk. Suddenly, a shadow sped through like lightning. Dangsuman's astonished eyes saw Jinwan's hand appear in time to block his dunk successfully. The spectators outside were stunned into silence. The skilled captain of the Wild Wolf team was blocked by Jinwan. It was unbelievable. Even the teammates couldn't believe their eyes. "How did he get over there? Did you see that?" "No, He disappeared in a blink. Was it a ghost or something? Dang Suman, pale and terrified, thought, no, it can't be. I refuse to believe it. It must be an illusion. Jinwon coolly spun the ball and said, my turn now. Suddenly, the referee blew the whistle loudly. Dang Suman, fuming, cursed inwardly, violation. Does Dang Suman have no shame? A black whistle? After announcing the foul, Dang Suman took the penalty shot, successfully increasing the score to 1-0 in favor of the Wild Wolf team. Dang Suman, with a smug look, thought to himself, so what if you're good at basketball? I call the black whistle. Are you mad? There are unwritten rules on the court too. You're too childish, Jinwon. The spectators outside also felt a sense of injustice for Jinwon. They whispered, that wasn't a foul. Why did the referee call it? Could it be a black whistle? Even for a friendly match, calling a black whistle is shameless. How can someone so shameless represent Hobei? It's disgraceful. Witnessing the unfair treatment, Jinwon radiated a fierce, burning anger. He was extremely upset and frustrated. That wild wolf scoundrel, Suman, you've really pissed me off. I might tolerate your cheating, but I won't allow you to insult the noble spirit of the sport. Jinwon's gaze became resolute. I'm going to take down your trashy team. After trailing by 1 point, Jinwon was allowed to inbound the ball from his side. Like a gust of wind, he sped down the court with the ball, moving as swiftly as Kylian Mbappe, and charged straight towards the opponent's basket. Dang Suman was the first line of defense but was easily bypassed. Jinwon maneuvered past one, then 2 players, and executed a spectacular dunk that reveled any professional player in the NBA. The entire court was stunned, especially the Wild Wolf team members who could only stand and watch. Dang Suman, infuriated, shouted loudly, get serious, you guys. If he gets through, foul him. Stop him. He pointed at the 4 logs, referring to Jinwon's team members, and added, what are you all doing? Following Dang Suman's plan, the Wild Wolf team members immediately closed in on Jinwon to block his attempts. Despite this, Jinwon remained calm and shielded the ball, smiling as he taunted. Is this all you've got? You want to represent Hoda University in big games with this level of skill? You're just a bunch of actors. Dang Suman's fans, sitting at the bottom of the metaphorical well, were dumbfounded. Jinwon executed a high jump and shot, seemingly making a 3-pointer from a distance. The actors on Dang Suman's team were sweating, wondering how he could do this and whether it was necessary for him to be so extreme. Despite knowing the match was rife with unfair practices, Jinwon was determined to win by any means. His posture reminded people of why they initially pursued basketball. Son, the referee is the key to the game. When the whistle blows, you must act with integrity. The young Jinwon had eagerly responded, yes, sir. I want to be a referee who blows the whistle with honesty. Now, as the old referee stared blankly, reflecting on his own actions, he questioned, for money, I betrayed my integrity. What happened to my promise to my father? Jinwon played with fervor despite the biased calls, driven by respect for the sport. A former coach once said, victory or defeat isn't just about the score, but whether you give it your all. Was it all for the passion? The onlookers were moved to tears, comparing themselves to this young man. We're truly unworthy compared to him. He is the true basketball prodigy. Jinwon continued to dribble the ball, observing his opponents. He wondered, are they surrendering already? Are they not going to chase anymore? The squeak of shoes retreating echoed. The spectators were astonished. What's happening? Is the basketball team quitting? All members of the Wild Wolf team had pulled back, creating an open path for Jinwon to approach the basket. Jinwon was puzzled. Some voices rang out, Jinwon, this is how you win people over with virtue. Aki brushed back his hair and said, this is the true spirit of sportsmanship. Meanwhile, Dang Suman looked bewildered like a confused dog, muttering to himself, what the hell is going on? Don't you guys want to make money anymore? This is ridiculous. After a while of competitive play, Jinwon had easily taken the lead with a score of 60-02. Dang Suman was almost on the brink of collapse, exhausted and gasping for breath. Jinwon continued his offensive dribbling, stating, "Dang Suman, you've insulted the sport of basketball. All further humiliation is of your own making." The sweat on the wild wolf's face was like a sauna. He thought, if I can defend against this shot, I won't be completely embarrassed. I still have a chance. Determined, Dang Suman blocked Jinwon's path. He leaped to block the dunk. But what surprised Jinwon was that the kid was using a martial arts move, elbowing sideways. Dang Suman's face twisted into a malicious, unethical grin. "You brought this on yourself. Off to the hospital with you, Jinwon." The elbow struck Jinwon's chest with a crack, but it was Dang Suman's arm that broke. The kid yelled out in pain and lay on the court, writhing. "My arm! How could this happen?" Jinwon, undeterred, completed his dunk spectacularly, ending the match. The spectators erupted in applause for Jinwon's performance, with his entourage clapping even louder. System notification. Affection level of Sim You Know. 3 million Aki has reached 96 points. Reward 10 points for increasing affection of Sim You Know. 2 Sidong, who has reached 96 points. Reward 10 points for increasing affection of Sim You Know. 1 Seorakrak, who has reached 97 points. Reward 10 points for increasing affection of Sim You Know. 4 Haijian, who has reached 95 points. Reward 22 points for increasing affection. Jinwon turned his back and walked away from the court. He glanced back with disdain and said, "Neither your skills nor your character are worthy of being a team leader. Competing with trash like you is a disgrace to my basketball skills." The kid, enraged and embarrassed, was humiliated in front of everyone. Everything he thought he was best at, everything he was proud of, was slapped in the face by Jinwon. Back on the ground, Dang Suman shouted at Jinwon, "Don't be so arrogant. We'll see, I'll make you regret this sooner or later." After the match, the female students looked at Jinwon with admiration. The girl in orange said, "Could you catch the scene of Jinwon's dunk earlier?" The girl in blue replied, "No, I was so mesmerized that I forgot to record it." Haijian, holding a water bottle, looked around, searching for Jinwon. "Where is Jinwon? I can't find him." After searching for a while, Haijian saw Juk-ki, the vice president of the student council, also holding a water bottle and looking for Jinwon. Seorakrak and T-Green joined the search, and Sidam also came looking for Jinwon. The four of them stood there, looking at each other in silence. Outside, Jinwon had successfully escaped, panting with exhaustion. "Good thing I ran fast. If I had taken any longer, picking a water bottle could have caused a big problem." The scene shifted to the dorm room. The sound of water running from the tap filled the room as Jinwon relaxed after the game, showered, and felt refreshed. His phone buzzed with a notification. Someone in the chat group had sent a friend request. Jinwon wondered about this request from an unfamiliar person. As he dried his hair, he picked up his phone to read the message. The notification read, "You've accepted the friend request from the Romantic Wanderer." The Romantic Wanderer greeted Jinwon, who responded, "Hello. Is there something you need?" The Romantic Wanderer replied, "Oh, nothing much. Just wanted to ask if you're in need of a wife." Jinwon stared at the message, speechless. What the heck is this? Why are they asking if I need a wife all of a sudden? Is the harem not big enough already? In his account, the girl who is highly sought after is Go Jeonyeom, who won the Best Actress award at the age of 22, and is known as the Jade Girl, leading among the top 4 young actresses in the entertainment industry. Despite her youth and notable achievements, she has faced numerous controversies, including being criticized as a mistress who disrupted other people's families. Recently, she has been involved in a scandal that has significantly tarnished her online reputation, and she is now facing the compensation claim of over 30 million NDT. Although Go Jeonyeom is the daughter of the Go Group, a wealthy conglomerate, the Go Group's recent performance has been poor. The 30 million NDT could help revive the Go Group. A young man with golden hair, sweating and clasping his hands, said, "Go Jeonyeom is my sister. I'm here to ask Jinwon to help her. He is Gorang, the 3rd son of the Go Group." Jinwon, sipping his coffee, said, "Marry your sister? You want me to come live with you?" Fearing a misunderstanding, Gorang quickly clarified, No, that's not what I meant. I just casually mentioned it on Shark app. I was afraid you wouldn't care about me. Gorang, frustrated, slammed the table and said, "My sister has been wronged. Public opinion is turning against her, and she's facing compensation claims for breach of contract." He then shyly added, "I want to ask you to buy my sister's villa." Jinwon continued sipping his coffee, thinking that buying a house for himself was indeed necessary. But considering Go Jeon-yum is a celebrity, she must spend money lavishly. Just the thought of it made Jinwon's face show a satisfied smirk. Another beautiful woman joining his harem, and a celebrity at that. How could he pass up on this? Jinwon put down his coffee cup and said solemnly, "I can help you, but you need to arrange for me to meet your sister. I'll also check out the house." Gorang was overjoyed and replied, "Got it. I'll arrange it for you." He quickly pulled out his phone and made a call, thinking to himself, Jinwon is indeed as righteous as the legends say. This is just what we needed. I heard not long ago that Jinwon had injected a large sum into the TU group. It seems that having my sister marry him might not be impossible. With him supporting us, who do we need to fear? Meanwhile, at a villa, there was a loud shout. "Are you talking about that guy? Stay away. I know he's influential. Aren't all the rumors out there because of him? But if you want me to bow down to him, don't even think about it." The person shouting was none other than Go Jeon-yum. After finishing her outburst, she angrily hung up the phone and slammed it down on the floor. She then started furiously punching a pillow, shouting, "Dan, old man, wanting to sleep with me, go to hell." Exhausted, she lay back on the bed, resting her arm on her forehead, trying to ease her headache. What should I do? So much compensation for breach of contract. I just want to be an actress. Is it really this difficult? At this moment, Go Jeon-yum thought to herself that even without makeup, she could outshine Jinwon's harem. Despite being playful, she knew she was quite striking. Just then, her phone rang with cheerful music. It was Gorang calling, excitedly saying, "Sis, it's me. I've found you a powerful ally. Don't worry about the money anymore." Suspicious, she asked, "A powerful ally? What are you talking about? Have you started matchmaking?" Gorang responded, No, it's Jinwon, the big shot who's been trending online. He agreed to buy your house, and he might be able to help with the other issues too." Upon hearing this, Go Jeon-yum began to reconsider Jinwon. Jinwon, who seemed overweight and unappealing in her mind, was actually not like that in person. He was young, handsome, with a great body and quite charming, though he had a peculiar interest in building a harem. At a cafe where Jinwon and Gorang were supposed to meet, Gorang was anxiously waiting while his sister criticized Jinwon. "You're helping outsiders, sis. When you get home, I'll make it up to you." Gorang, feeling nervous under his sister's scolding, stammered, "Sis, just trust me this once. Jinwon is really impressive. He should be arriving soon. Please show him the house and be nice to him." Go Jeon-yum responded sharply, "Just get lost," and fearing more scolding, Gorang quickly ended the call. His task of introducing his sister to Jinwon was complete, and now it was up to them to handle their conversation. On the other side, the beautiful Go Jeon-yum was fuming with rage. She gripped her phone tightly and shouted, "No man is ever good, not even my own brother." She raised her fist in determination, thinking, "Even if I have to jump out of the window and die, I won't need any man's money." It was bewildering how such a beautiful woman, who was thought to be a good person, was involved in so much drama. A short while later, Jinwon drove his Ferrari and parked in front of Go Jeon-yum's villa, following the address given by Gorang. Jinwon observed that this villa was quite different from the one he had bought before, but it was close by. The distance and direction between the buildings were good. So this is Go Jeon-yum's house. I didn't expect to be so close to a big star, Jinwon thought. Without delay, Jinwon approached and rang the doorbell. Hearing the doorbell, Go Jeon-yum's face turned sour. So he's here already. What an awful man, even my own brother. She put on her coat and went to open the door, calling out loudly, come in, stop ringing the bell." She opened the door with such force, showing her impatience. Jinwon, who had been pressing the doorbell, heard her complaint just as he was about to speak. Go Jeonyeom's gaze and expression fixed on Jinwon, who was blushing slightly in front of the handsome young man. She thought, is this the person Gorang mentioned? He doesn't match my expectations at all. Jinwon said in a deep voice, "Hello, are you Miss Go Jeonyeom? I'm a friend of Gorang." While she was still trying to process this, Jinwon had already entered the house and politely said, "Sorry for the intrusion." Seeing Jinwon's back as he walked in, Go Jeonyeom thought to herself, so this is Jinwon. He's so young and handsome. Even after all my filming, I've never seen a male actor with such a presence and beauty. Once Jinwon entered the house, he immediately sat down on the sofa and said, "Miss, don't be too formal. Please sit down." Go Jeonyeom snapped out of her daze, wondering who was the host and who was the guest here. She thought to herself, who's being so presumptuous? Jinwon continued, "So, are you not going to show me around the house anymore?" Go Jeonyeom hesitated and replied, "Aren't you going to look at the house?" Jinwon answered, "The house is quite fine. I've seen enough. But of course, the house isn't the main point." She looked at him with curiosity, thinking, what's the real reason? Jinwon got straight to the point. "What's important is you. I want you to be my mistress." Go Jeonyeom was stunned. The system prompt appeared. Name: Go Jeonyeom. Age: 22. Height: 168 centimeters. Weight: 50 kilograms. Beauty score: 9.2. Female's affection for the host: -35. Counterattack complete. Affection exceeding 95 points rewards 10% Simu money. Enhancement points: 30. Skill rewards: proficiency in performance. Jinwon smiled, thinking, instead of beating around the bush, it's better to make a surprise attack. How will you respond to this? Go Jeonyeom was silent, thinking, a mistress? Who do you think you're insulting? With a bit of money, you're so arrogant. Let's see how I'll make you regret this. She replied arrogantly, "You're really straightforward. Fine. Being your mistress isn't out of the question. But I have conditions. First, a luxury car worth millions. Second, a top-notch luxury villa. Third, you need to invest NDT 500 million in 2 of my films, with me as the lead actress." She looked at Jinwon, expecting him to be intimidated. But to her surprise, Jinwon was enthusiastic and pleased. He was delighted to have someone willing to spend so much money on him. Jinwon said, "Is that all? That's great. Let's do it that way. One top-notch villa isn't enough. How about a few more? How about a villa each for your father, your family, and yourself?" Go Jeonyeom was stunned, overwhelmed by questions. She thought, is this guy out of his mind? He seems to only care about spending money. If it's what you want, I can buy the whole world for you. Jinwon's skills in flirting were truly exceptional. A little while later, Gorang arrived and shouted, "Sis, I'm here." Seeing the Ferrari parked outside, he was overjoyed. "Isn't that Jinwon's car? Is he still here, or did he and my sister become an item already?" He poked his head in and saw his sister sitting there, lost in thought. "Hey sis, why are you alone? Where's Jinwon? I saw his car outside. I thought he'd be here and it would be so much fun." Go Jeonyeom, with her mind wandering, softly replied, "You mean the Ferrari outside? Jinwon gave it to me." Hearing this, Gorang burst into tears, lamenting, "It's so unfair. Why would he give a supercar worth over NDT 20 million to you? Why didn't he give it to me?" Still looking stunned, Go Jeonyeom continued, "Not only did he give me the car, but he also left me some money he called a small amount." Gorang's expression changed instantly, brightening up again. "I'm okay now, I won't cry anymore. How much did he give for the house deposit? Is it 1 million or 2 million? Go Jeonyeom began tapping on her phone and then held it up to show, NDT 100 million. Gorang stared at the phone screen, his mouth hanging open and eyes wide in shock. The message read, "Account balance update. Your account has received NDT 100 million. His face lit up with joy, like a dog waiting for a treat after being starved for years. Thinking that the house hasn't even been bought yet, and with the car worth NDT 120 million, he excitedly said, Jinwon really likes my sister. I knew there'd be a chance. Gorang danced around, singing with joy. I want to be Jinwon's brother-in-law, haha. Go Jeonyeom watched her brother with exasperation, thinking he was hopeless. She then came back to her senses and reflected on Jinwon's proposal. Will you be my lover, baby? Her face blushed with embarrassment. She wondered, what's wrong with me? This man wants me to be his lover. I should hate him for being so presumptuous, but he transferred the money immediately. Before leaving, Jinwon had said, the car is now in your name. Use the NDT 100 million for now. If it's not enough, I'll give you more. I can't bear to see a beautiful woman suffering. I have other matters to attend to, so I'm leaving now. Go Jeonyeom unconsciously touched her chest, thinking that throughout their encounter, he had never once touched her. He truly was a gentleman, unlike other men who only think about taking advantage for themselves. He didn't seem like a bad person at all. The more she thought about Jinwon, the more she became infatuated with him. The system notification appeared, showing Go Jeonyeom's favorability increasing. Plus 10 favorability with Go Jeonyeom. Current favorability, plus 10, minus 5. The scene shifted to the campus of Hode University, where senior students were happily posing and taking pictures in their graduation robes. Meanwhile, the seductress Jimbing Seol was talking to Aki. Jinwon is not a good person. You should distance yourself from him as soon as possible. After today, I won't be able to protect you once you graduate. Aki tried to reason, sister, Jinwon is not like you think. He's not the person you're describing. Jimbing Seol replied, did you see that basketball game? Many girls brought him drinks. That shows he doesn't always adhere to the ethics of a gentleman. Aki, with a serious expression, responded, I saw that too, but Jinwon didn't take drinks from anyone. He did very well, and I think he's not problematic. Jimbing Seol, looking at Aki's face, thought, Aki is really losing her mind. The seductress persisted, so, if I told you that on your birthday, Jinwon directed and played the role of a hero saving a damsel in distress on his way home, and he wanted me to repay him with my body, would you still think I'm wrong about him? Aki took out her phone to look for something, saying, sister, I think you're sometimes too suspicious of men. I'm a bit worried about your mental state. Jinwon is good at everything, but he has a strong sense of duty. Aki showed a photo of Surakrak, representing the art department, presenting a certificate to Jinwon. Look, he acted courageously, not just once or twice. He didn't even know you would be there that day, so he couldn't have directed and acted on his own. Seeing this, Jimbing Seol was surprised and started to question if she had misunderstood Jinwon. Maybe I underestimated a man like Jinwon. The seductive woman then left, leaving Aki astonished. Sister Jimbing Seol, where are you going? Your class hasn't taken any photos yet. Jimbing Seol left embarrassedly, feeling deeply regretful. It's all my fault. A few days after the graduation ceremony, Jimbing Seol found herself heading to work at some office. She was still feeling the aftereffects of that day, embarrassed and agitated, repeatedly berating herself. How embarrassing, how embarrassing. I actually said those things to Aki, like Jinwon was trying to flirt with me or something. And now, even after all these days of working, I still can't forget that embarrassing feeling. What should I do? She lay her head down on her desk in exhaustion. Moreover, she found it strange that whenever she recalled that embarrassing feeling, Jinwon's face would appear in her mind. It was all so peculiar. Suddenly, a voice called out, Hey, come here for a moment. I need to talk to you. Startled, Jimbing Seol quickly sat up and stammered, yes, I'm coming. To room 208, the CEO's office. Jimbing Seol wondered what the charity dinner was about. A female manager appeared and explained, yes, recently, the renowned business circle in Hanseon has organized a charity dinner. As my assistant, you are to attend on my behalf. Moreover, you have a task assigned to you. I heard that this charity dinner has invited the prominent businessman Yen. Your task is to network with him and pave the way for our company's future business activities. Upon hearing the task, Jimbing Seol was momentarily stunned. Is this really happening? I thought having a female CEO would help avoid such things. Never mind, it's just a standard task for my first assignment. I'll do my best. The female manager replied, it's not about doing your best, it's mandatory to complete it. The scene shifted to the male dormitory, where Jinwon, with a disheveled appearance, was on the phone with Jang Hokian. Jang Hokian said, Jinwon, have you seen Weibo? Gorang's sister has single-handedly taken down a major figure in the film and television industry. Jinwon, absent-mindedly picking his nose, looked up with interest and immediately turned on his computer. Gojanium did something spectacular? Let me check it out. On the hot search list, the top entry read, Gojanium has single-handedly taken down a major figure in the film and television industry. Seeing this, Jinwon was astonished and exclaimed, hot search? Really? He scrolled through Gojanium's status update, which read, the situation has reached this point. I can no longer remain silent. I want to speak out on behalf of all those who have been harmed by this scum. Below, there were comments from netizens both supporting and criticizing her. One comment from what seemed to be Gojanium's boyfriend supported her. Sister, you're so brave. Another comment mentioned Gojanium's past blackmail issues, but noted, anti-fans don't read the clarifications, they just slander Gojanium. She is innocent. Hokyun explained, the major figure in the film and television industry saw that the Gao family was about to fall and wanted to make a deal with Gojanium. She refused, which led to her being smeared and blacklisted. Jinwon admired Gojanium's integrity, thinking, she is indeed a girl with strong principles, quite remarkable in this circle. Hokyun added, there's a charity auction where all the influential celebrities in Hanseon will be present. You should definitely go, Jinwon. Jinwon responded with surprise, a charity auction? I guess it could be a place to spend money. I might check it out, but I have some tasks to handle first. Meanwhile, at Gojanium's villa, she was shouting, hurry up, start using the opponent's watermarks, and suppress their comments with our backup accounts. This voice belonged to the beauty herself. Gojanium was furious, slamming her phone and instructing her subordinates to fight against their opponents as keyboard warriors. She said, I refuse to believe that the truth will be concealed by lies. A keyboard warrior replied, Miss, the opponent's firepower is stronger than ours. We're about to collapse. They've invested a lot of money and have professional public relations and keyboard warriors. Meanwhile, the female assistant was urgently contacting major loyal fans. The phone chimed, hello, your account has received NDT 100 million. Seeing the phone, Gojanium exclaimed, another 100 million. At that moment, the company's financial account was running low. She blushed, wondering if he had seen the Weibo battle and was worried about her insufficient funds. Her expression was one of reluctant acceptance, though somewhat endearing. He's so infuriating. Just because he has some money, he thinks he's so great. The system notified. Gojanium's favorability increased by 10. Scene transition to the auction venue. At a grand square, numerous reporters were present, and a long red carpet was laid out to welcome the distinguished guests of the auction. Inside the hall, people were bustling around, clinking glasses and chatting. On the other side, Sobek and Gorang were sitting together and chatting. Sobek said, Gorang, you're looking radiant these days. You used to be so down because of your sister's issues, but today you seem like a completely different person. Gorang, smiling brightly, replied, well, recently my sister has been getting to know Mr. Yen. So now, it's as if Mr. Yen is half my brother-in-law. When you're happy, your spirit lifts. Nearby friends were intrigued and asked, Mr. Yen? Is he the one who acquired shares in the TU family and donated hundreds of millions on that shark app? The boy in black confirmed, that's right. Mr. Yen is very powerful. Even Han Samsu was subdued by him. Sobek placed a hand on Gorang's shoulder and said, no wonder, a few days ago, I saw your sister verbally sparring with half the entertainment industry online. The backing is indeed strong. The boy in black added, if we get a chance, introduce us to Mr. Yen. We've wanted to meet him for a long time. Gorang, flattered, replied, sure, my brother-in-law. He even invited me for a drink a few days ago. Just then, Sobek noticed Suman standing up and asked, hey Suman, where are you going? Dang Suman waved his hand and said, "You guys keep talking. I'm just going to the restroom. I'll be right back." As Suman walked away, Gorang muttered to himself in irritation, "What's the big deal? Just because his sister is someone's mistress, he's acting like he's in the inner circle. Without Mr. Yen, he wouldn't even be worth my time." Gorang wandered through the crowd, thinking about the charity auction. He realized that the event was essentially a place to hunt for the elite of Hanseon to secure a share of the benefits for the next 10 years. Mr. Yen was an important guest for the evening. Recalling the time he had diligently gathered all information about Mr. Yen and created a psychological profile with an accuracy of no more than 5%, Dang Suman confidently wore a sinister smile. He was determined to approach Mr. Yen. Mr. Yen was an elegant and wise elder, modest by nature, but his outstanding demeanor could not be concealed. To think that these people wanted to associate with Mr. Yen. What a dream! Dang Suman planned to wait right at the door, ready to greet Mr. Yen as soon as he arrived, aiming to make a good impression from the very start. He intended to show Mr. Yen that he was a young man with vision, knowledge, and ambition, hoping to win his interest. Dang Suman stood by the gate with a sinister smile, thinking, "Just wait, Dango Jiol. I will prove through my actions that I am the most valuable heir of the corporation." Suddenly, Dang Suman noticed something and exclaimed in surprise, "Is that Jinwan? Isn't that Jinwan over there? Why is he here in a security uniform?" Jinwan had finally changed out of his usual attire and looked slightly better, though still unimpressive. In his heart, Jinwan thought, "This charity dinner is so embarrassing. I spent so much money to attend this event." He remembered having spent 20,000 yuan on a whole outfit and felt regretful thinking about the expense. This was what it felt like to spend one's own money. He then realized something odd. Is this a coincidence? Is this a fashion clash? He looked at the wealthy people's security uniforms, which were all wearing expensive suits. Such extravagant displays. Jinwan heard a familiar voice calling out, "Isn't that Jinwan, the basketball prince? How did you become a security guard after not seeing you for a few days?" Jinwan recognized the effeminate voice and felt a pang of irritation. He responded, "Sorry, I'm not a security guard. I was invited to the dinner. Also, we're not that close. Please show some respect and stay away from me." Dang Suman, with a disdainful expression, said, "You're attending the dinner too? What a coincidence. Let's go inside together." He thought to himself, what a pretentious act. Security guard, huh? Just wait and see. I'll make sure you can't get away with this. Jinwan, not wanting to be bothered, tried to enter but was stopped by the security guard, who said, "Sir, please show your invitation." Jinwan was puzzled and asked, "Invitation? What invitation?" Dang Suman, with a mocking tone, said, "No way, no way. Who gets invited without an invitation?" Jinwan, stop pretending. Being a security guard isn't shameful. No need to puff up and act like a big shot, haha. Jinwan was increasingly annoyed by Dang Suman's persistent presence, feeling very uncomfortable. Does this kid not realize that the person he's mistaking for a security guard is actually the legendary Jinwan, he thought. Another self-inflicted mistake from this arrogant guy. Meanwhile, a luxurious car pulled up to the red carpet area. In front of hundreds of reporters, the car door opened to reveal the stunning Jimbing Seal, with her long fair legs stepping out. She looked around, slightly surprised. Is this the venue for the charity dinner? With a cold, haughty expression, Jimbing Seal walked gracefully down the red carpet, attracting countless cameras and the admiring gazes of men behind her. Everyone was astonished by her beauty. One person remarked, "I think even Miss Soyaku and Go Jeon would have trouble surpassing her looks. After all, she's in Jinwan's inner circle. Whoever's better doesn't matter. It's all for Jinwan's benefit." Although she didn't enjoy the attention, Jinming Seal was determined to fulfill her mission for the night, persuading Mr. Yen to invest in their company. Despite her discomfort with the situation, she had to make the most of it. Suddenly, her gaze shifted to the commotion where Jinwan and the security guard were arguing. No invitation and still wanting to attend the dinner. How strange. Puffing up and pretending to be important, she thought, noticing Jinwan. Jinbing Seal was surprised to see Jinwon there. Jinwon, feeling frustrated, said, "I've already said I don't have an invitation, but I am indeed an invited guest." The security guard responded, "I know all invited guests should have invitations." Dang Suman, standing nearby, added fuel to the fire. "That's right. Only those with invitations can attend. Special guests are usually high-ranking executives and top influencers." Dang Suman looked at Jinwon disdainfully and asked, "So what kind of big shot are you?" He thought to himself, "Just a timid mouse. Today, I'll make sure you're put in your place." A voice came from behind. "This is Jinbing Seal. Each invitation allows one guest." "He's my friend," she said, handing the invitation to the security guard. The guard took it and responded, "Yes, of course, miss." Jinwon, standing aside, thought with suspicion, "This damned woman should hate me. How come she's helping me? What's her deal? I really want to know." Jinbing Seal entered and turned to Jinwon, saying, "I'm helping you not because I have a different opinion of you, but to return a favor. Although I seem cold, it was just a misunderstanding that night. Nothing more." Jinwon's expression darkened and he remained silent, thinking angrily, "Return a favor? I wanted to call and publicly humiliate Dang Suman, like those fake CEOs testing loyalty. Now she's ruined that plan. And she thinks she's helping me. Who gave her that confidence?" Jinwon teased her, "You consider this returning a favor? I feel it's quite the loss. I was invited, not your plus one. Stop meddling. This isn't a Hode student gathering." Hearing these words, Jinbing Seal was stunned for 5 seconds, feeling furious inside. She scolded herself, thinking, "I shouldn't have cared whether he lives or dies. I tried to help him, and now he mocks me. Go to hell. Men truly don't deserve any good treatment." She was so angry that she almost wanted to punch him right there. Jinwon noticed her suppressing her anger and chose to remain silent. He thought, "I might end up getting beaten by Jinbing Seal." Around them, a group of onlookers with a disdainful expression whispered among themselves. "I wanted to say earlier," Jinwon began, "a poor man without an invitation wanting to mingle in high society. Now that someone has let him in, he's still causing trouble. There are many who deceive and exploit others. Men like this are the worst, arrogant and useless." Dang Suman, seeing his plan to attract attention succeed, added, "No job is high or low, noble or humble. But clearly, you're a security guard pretending to be a guest, acting so pretentious. Be careful, your future won't be easy." The crowd around them agreed, "Yes, yes, that's right." Jinwon endured their cold glares, smiling inwardly. "Laugh all you want. We'll see whose path is harder later." Sobek, from a distance, noticed a crowd gathered and approached to see what was happening. His face turned pale when he saw Dang Suman mocking Jinwon by placing a hand on his shoulder. Sobek exclaimed, "Isn't that Mr. Yen? Dang Suman is crazy, daring to mock Mr. Yen in front of everyone. I need to call Mr. Hoshin immediately. This is going to be a big problem." Inside the VIP room of the venue, someone spoke up. "I heard Mr. Yen is coming tonight, right? I've been wanting to meet him for a while. I want Jang Hochian to introduce us." The young man, Dango Jiol from a large conglomerate and Dang Suman's older brother, was a top candidate for the family succession. Opposite him, Jang Hochian replied, "You flatter me. Although Mr. Yen is my friend, I can't intervene in his matters. I consider him my senior." Dango Jiol responded, "Jang Hochian, you're being modest. Everyone knows who Mr. Yen and you are." Before he could finish, a phone rang, interrupting their conversation. Jang Hochian answered, saying, "Sorry, I need to take this call." Seeing Sobak's call, he answered, "Sobak, what's up?" The voice on the other end was panicked. "Hochian, something's wrong. Mr. Yen is being blocked at the door and is being insulted." Jang Hochian's face darkened with anger. "What the hell? Who dares to insult tonight's special guest?" Sobek replied urgently, "It's Dang Suman." Jang Hochian's face turned grim as he looked at Dango Jiol. Dango Jiol, realizing what was happening, internally cursed Dang Suman, thinking he had ruined the family's prospects. Angrily, he jumped up and rushed out, shouting, This is outrageous. How dare they? Hoqian, standing behind, advised Dango Jiol to stay calm. Given Dango Jiol's fiery temperament, he was quite familiar with how easily he could lose his cool. Outside, Dang Suman continued to harass Jinwan, saying, "I told you, why do you keep trying to insert yourself into our high society? Honestly, you're better suited as a security guard." Jinwan, irritated, pushed Dang Suman's hand away and said, "Get your filthy claws off me. Your weakling self has no right to lecture me. Even if you're his brother, you have no right." Dang Suman laughed loudly, spreading his arms in a show of arrogance. "A lowly guard like you is quite arrogant. Do you even know who my brother is? He's Dango Jiol, the head of the Dang Corporation, with assets worth $10 billion. He has countless businesses. His sneeze could shake the world, let alone a rat like you." Dang Suman continued confidently, "I'm the second son of the family, Dango Jiol's younger brother. What can a rat like you do against me? I'm just a security guard, but you have such a big mouth." Behind them, Jinbing Seal looked at Dang Suman with disdain, thinking, "This guy keeps boasting about his family and his brother, but it's all just empty talk." She turned to Jinwan with some concern, worried for him. Even though Dang Suman is just a useless fool, he's still more powerful than Jinwan. "Jinwan, you're getting what you deserve." In the distance, two figures rushed toward the scene. The crowd turned their attention to them, saying, "Dango Jiol is here, and Jang Hoqian too. It seems like Dango Jiol isn't pleased. Who pissed him off?" Dang Suman was surprised to see his brother looking angry and said, "Why are you here? I can handle this small matter." Without a word, Dango Jiol slapped Dang Suman hard across the face in front of the crowd. Dang Suman, bleeding from his nose and holding his cheek, protested, "What are you doing? Why did you hit me? You should at least tell me what I did wrong." Dango Jiol, furious, pointed at Jinwan and said, "Do you still have the nerve to ask why? You've done such foolish things without considering the consequences. Go and apologize to Mr. Yen immediately." Hearing this, Dang Suman and everyone else were stunned. Jinwan. Dango Jiol then approached, bowed deeply, and earnestly apologized. "I'm sorry, Mr. Yen, Mr. Yen. I apologize for my younger brother's conflict with you. He was blind and didn't see the higher authority. I apologize on his behalf." At this moment, everyone gasped in surprise. Some were astonished, while others were anxious, realizing that the legendary Mr. Yen standing before them was actually Jinwan. The crowd, who had been bad-mouthing Jinwan earlier, quickly changed their tune, trying to curry favor. The young man in the blue shirt said, "The big boss with over 10 billion is indeed a special guest tonight. No need for an invitation." A girl standing nearby remarked, "Mr. Yen is so modest. He really has charisma." A young man presented a piece of paper and asked, "Mr. Yen, I'm a fan of yours. Could you sign this for me?" On the other side, Dang Suman was still reeling from the shock, bewildered by how things had turned out. He wondered why, despite his own skills and background, he found himself overshadowed by Jinwan. Could Jinwan be the main character in the story, the nemesis of his fate? At this point, everyone was looking at Jinwan with admiration. However, Jinwan merely glanced at the young Jang Hoqian, who found Jinwan's look a bit intimidating. Jang Hoqian, sweating, said, "Mr. Yen, it was my mistake for not arranging things properly today. You've had to endure this inconvenience. You should have called me, you're being too polite." Jinwan approached and patted the young man on the shoulder, saying, "Given our relationship, would I really blame you for such a small issue?" Jang Hoqian, still being polite, said loudly, "Ladies and gentlemen, the evening party is about to begin. Let's not stand here any longer. Everyone here is a person of importance in Hanseong. Let's go inside." He then made way for Jinwan, Jang Hoqian, and Dango Jiol to enter. Jinbing Seal stood behind, admiring Jinwan's back with deep admiration. She had initially thought Jinwan was just a boastful, superficial person, but she was surprised to find he was genuinely humble. If Jinwan were willing, with his esteemed status as Mr. Yen, he would have countless female students vying for his attention at school. She awkwardly patted her head, realizing she didn't need to help him at all. She was just being overly sentimental. Feeling despondent, she lamented, "What should I do now? I'm so embarrassed. How am I supposed to complete the task that the boss assigned?" She wondered if she really had to rely on her looks. She looked at Jinwon, contemplating whether to proceed this way. Inside the auction hall, Jinwon, as the special guest, naturally sat in the front row, alongside other prominent figures. Jang Okian said, "Mr. Yen, the first part of tonight's event is a charity auction. There will be not just jewelry and antiques, but also company shares and even land. I'm sure you'll find it interesting." Jinwon, surprised by the mention of land, replied, "Yes, that's right. To support the charity auction, Hanseong has offered a high-quality piece of land." In Jinwon's mind, he thought, "This auction is quite intriguing. It's a good opportunity for me to spend some money. Items like companies and land are too expensive. They can easily cost tens of billions. I was worried I wouldn't have anywhere to spend it, haha." But then he became anxious, pondering whom he should gift it to. Should I give it to Soyaku, Jukki, or maybe to that enchantress? But forget it, she's got issues. If I give her money, she might not even accept it, and I'll lose her favor. A loud voice interrupted his thoughts. "Hey, why is she here?" Jinwon instinctively looked back to see a tall, glamorous figure in an elegant dress, with a body that couldn't be faulted. He sighed in relief, thinking, so she's here. It'll be easier to handle things with her around. Maybe I should just go all out at tonight's auction. However, he was puzzled by the seating arrangement. Why is Han Samsu only in the second row? Jinwon glanced at the seat next to him, where the name Sedeonwai was displayed. Wasn't this the name of a high-ranking leader at Hanseong? It seemed his reputation in Hanseong was quite good. Suddenly, a voice and figure caught his attention. "Excuse me, I need to pass through." This surprised Jinwon. Next to him was a girl who appeared mysterious but couldn't hide her impressive charm and beauty. The people behind them whispered among themselves, wondering who this girl was, seated in the position of Secretary Sedeonwai. Someone beside her reminded them not to gossip, saying, "This is Secretary Sedeonwai's only daughter, Sukmuk. Secretary Seo couldn't make it today." Everyone was astonished. So she's Sukmuk. Her presence is truly exceptional. If only I could pursue her, I wouldn't have to strive so hard. Do you want to eat shit? You think you're worthy of such high aspirations? Jinwon, sitting above, perked up his ears, listening to the conversation about the person next to him. His face involuntarily showed admiration. So she was the daughter of a high-ranking official, and she was this beautiful. Such a woman was definitely not someone to provoke. Jinwon turned his face towards Jang Hokian. At this moment, Dango Jeol unexpectedly approached and extended a handshake to greet Sukmuk. "Hello, Miss Sukmuk. I'm Dango Jeol. It's a pleasure to meet you." Dango Jeol, who was also quite calculating, saw the chance to build a relationship with the daughter of a high-ranking official. Making connections here could benefit the advancement of his own corporation and possibly lead to a future marriage alliance. Sukmuk responded cheerfully, "Hello, Dango Jeol. It's a pleasure to meet you." Sukmuk thought to herself, more of the usual flattery. I should have declined my father's invitation to this trivial event. She then noticed the young man sitting next to her. There was something oddly intriguing about him. He was young, yet sitting with older figures like Dango Jeol. It was unusual. She hadn't seen him before. Seeing someone from her own generation, Sukmuk felt a bit more at ease. She turned to him and initiated a conversation. "Hello, I'm Sukmuk. What's your name?" Jinwon continued to turn his face away, trying to avoid eye contact. He clenched his hands, attempting to pretend he didn't see or hear anything, muttering to himself, "Can't see, can't hear. Please go away. Don't pay attention to me." Sukmuk found his behavior very strange. Why is he avoiding me like this? Am I so frightening? She was baffled and felt that this was a situation she had never encountered before. Jinwon was fearful when facing Sukmuk, which was a stark contrast to his initial encounter with Jinbingseol. It seemed that Jinwon only preferred targets with a simpler background. Sweat dripped from Jinwon's forehead as he struggled to endure. He thought it best not to engage with her. fearing that the system might again entangle him with her. Sukmuk continued to wave her hand, speaking in a slightly pouty tone. "Why won't you tell me your name? It's quite rude." Dango Jeol, standing nearby, spoke up. "Jinwon, you're being too cold. This is the daughter of Secretary Seo." Jang Hoqian also chimed in. "Say hello to her." Jinwon sighed in resignation, finally turning to greet her. "My name is Jinwon." Just as he suspected, the Dan system was not listening. The system once again announced the start of the Simu actions. Sukmuk looked at him with a hint of irritation. "What's with this guy? He's acting so strange. It's not like meeting someone is that difficult." The system announcement detailed: Target: Sukmuk, age 22, height 173 centimeters, weight 53 kilograms, beauty value 9.1. If the favorability towards the target exceeds 95 points, the counterattack will succeed and Sukmuk will become the Simu. Rewards: 10% Simu money and 35 enhancement points. Additional reward: proficiency in firearms skill. Jinwon, furious, bit the edge of his seat, cursing inwardly. As expected, this Dan system is setting me up with her again. Sukmuk looked at Jinwon with great interest. "Jinwon, I remember you now. I'll keep an eye on you. Seeing that firearms skill, it might be worth having." Jinwon thought to himself, "If I have to deal with her later, I'll make sure she becomes part of the harem. This is getting ridiculous." At that moment, a girl with blue hair stepped up and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the first item for tonight's charity auction." The girl, an MC and famous actress, introduced the item. This necklace is designed based on the heart of the ocean from Titanic. It's produced by a renowned fashion company and crafted uniquely by top designers. Made of white gold with a rare blue heart-shaped diamonds surrounded by white diamonds, it's the only one of its kind in the world, symbolizing eternal and unchanging love. The auctioneer then announced loudly, "The starting bid is NDT 120 million. The ladies in the audience had various expressions of emotions on their faces. One girl, looking admiringly at the necklace, said, "So it's the heart of the ocean. There's only one in the world. I'm ready to remarry if someone can buy it for me." Another girl, clenching her fists and gritting her teeth, said, "I'm so frustrated. My father didn't try hard enough and couldn't buy the necklace for me." A girl, wiping away her tears, lamented, "Without this necklace, my figure, appearance, and even my manners will be ruined. It's as if my soul is destroyed." Several wealthy individuals started raising their paddles, bidding 130 million, 140 million, 150 million. From the upper seats, Jinwon coldly raised his paddle, saying, "I bid 300 million. The whole hall was in an uproar, shocked by his willingness to spend so much. Sukmuk, sitting next to him, was equally astonished. She thought this person might be a disciple of some wealthy family, but it turned out he himself was the wealthy one. The auctioneer, eyes wide in disbelief, remarked, "He's doubling the bid. How can others compete with him?" He quickly composed himself and said, "Ah, yes, Mr. Yen, in position number 5, bids 300 million. Is there anyone bidding higher?" 300 million once. The people below could only grit their teeth in frustration, unable to compete due to their insufficient funds. "My wife only wants this item. But 300 million, twice. Darling, there are more items behind. Let's bid on something else." She grumbled, "How annoying. 300 million. Thrice." The auctioneer hammered the gavel decisively. After Jinwon paid the 300 million, he handed his card to the staff, instructing, "After wrapping the necklace, please give it to Miss Gojanium in the back row. It's a gift for her." The staff replied, "Yes, Mr. Jinwon." Seeing this, the actress felt misled, thinking Jinwon might have been giving the gift to her. She felt frustrated and angry, wondering why he would favor someone like her. Gojanium, on one side, was incredibly flustered and felt a mix of emotions. She looked at Jinwon with admiration. The system notified her that her affection for Jinwon increased by 10 points. Gorang, sitting next to her, was overjoyed, saying, "This is the typical dominant CEO storyline, and it's really happening." Mr. Jinwon wants to give you the heart of the ocean. Oh my god. Hearing this, Go Jeonyeom blushed and shyly covered her satisfied smile with her hand. She thought it was all very strange. She knew Jinwon was just a playboy who toyed with girls, but when he gave her the necklace, she still felt embarrassed and even secretly pleased. Her affection for Jinwon increased by another 10 points, bringing her total affection to 35. She resolutely thought, "No, Go Jeonyeom, you must not fall for his trap. You are a girl with aspirations and ideals. You cannot be easily moved by Jinwon. If he wants to use money to impress you, let him spend all his money on you. Let him know your worth and feel the pain." The female MC announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, the next item for auction is the second highlight of tonight. It's a grand piano, but not just any grand piano. It's a priceless crystal piano, ranked second among the top 10 pianos in the world. Made from pure crystal, it has been used by a master pianist. Starting price is NDT 30 million. The wealthy gentleman began bidding. 35 million, 40 million, 45 million. Jinwon coldly said, "I bid NDT 200 million. A man in the same row stood up angrily, exclaiming, "Why is it this guy?" Next to him, Jang Hochian and Dango Jiol were astonished. Jang Hochian wondered if Jinwon was buying the piano for Juk Ki. A voice from the back said, "I bid NDT 210 million. Jinwon turned around and saw a red-haired girl in a red dress. He recognized her as the heiress of the Jinho Corporation, Sang Wanwei. Her family was rich from the mobile game industry. Jinwon said sternly, 300 million. She, not backing down, countered with 310 million. Jinwon looked at her displeasedly, seeing her smug expression. He bid 500 million. The crowd was astonished and swore, "NDT 500 million? Did I hear that correctly?" The auctioneer felt exasperated, thinking, "From 30 million to 500 million. I really hate rich people." He regained his composure and announced, "Mr. Yen, in position number 5, bids 500 million. Is there anyone with a higher bid?" 500 million once, 500 million twice, 500 million thrice. Sold. Jang Hochian turned to Jinwon and asked, "Are you planning to bid for everything tonight at this charity auction?" Jinwon replied, "It's nothing. I just want to buy a few gifts for some friends." Sang Wanwei, sitting behind, was very annoyed with Jinwon, looking at him with fiery eyes and silently cursing him. The auctioneer cheerfully said, "Thank you, Jinwon, for your strong support of this charitable event." Sang Wanwei provocatively remarked, "This man is indeed rich and generous. I admire his wealth, but buying the piano just for display is pointless unless one knows how to play it." Jinwon turned back and said, "How did you know I could play the piano?" It seemed that Sang Wanwei was trying to pressure him. Jinwon stood up with an outstretched hand and said, "Since Miss Sang Wanwei insists, I will play a piece on this superb piano for everyone to enjoy." Jinwon, with the demeanor of a top pianist, sat down at the piano with a graceful, dignified air. As he played, the music stirred the hearts of everyone below, filling them with admiration for Jinwon. Sang Wanwei was astonished that Jinwon could actually play the piano. His technique was far from ordinary. The other women were also moved, praising Jinwon's skill, which surpassed all contemporary masters. It felt like experiencing a first love. The lyrics, "Somi, when I left you, it was unavoidable. My love," evoked strong emotions. Nearby, a girlfriend was furious seeing her boyfriend mumbling along. Two other men held each other and cried, "Dad, I miss you so much. Grandpa, please don't go. Don't leave me." Go Jeonyeom was overwhelmed with emotions as she listened to the music. She wondered if someone who could play such music could really have a dirty soul. Maybe she misunderstood him. The system notified that Go Jeonyeom's affection increased by 10 points, bringing her total affection to 55. Jinming-seol, moved by the performance, looked at Jinwon and finally understood why Aki liked him. His background, wealth, talent, and looks met all the criteria of a perfect man. Jinming-seol realized she had been shallow. Anyone who could play music like this must have a story and have endured much pain. Such a person was beyond her right to judge. Jinbing Seal's affection increased by 100 points, bringing her total affection to 105. Jin Wan looked at the system board and sweated, wondering, what kind of demon increases by 100 points? Was the emotional fluctuation of this woman really that significant? Could it be that his talent had won her over? Indeed, in some cases, talent could be more effective than money. Jin Wan stood up, posed, and took a bow. After finishing, he sat back down. Sukmuk, visibly excited and admiring, said, "I didn't expect you to play so well. How about we add each other on WeChat? I actually have some professional technical questions I'd like to discuss with you." Jin Wan looked at her in surprise, thinking she must be impressed by him. Unfortunately, he had no interest in pursuing anything with her. He smiled and said, "Sorry, I don't carry my phone." Sukmuk felt her instincts were right. He had rejected her directly. This man was something special, and he surely had no ulterior motives. The system notifications rang. Sukmuk's affection increased by 10. Sukmuk's affection increased by 10. Sukmuk's affection increased by 10. Current affection, 30 points. Jin Wan looked at her cheerful expression and was a bit puzzled, wondering why her affection kept increasing. Lately, he seemed to keep running into women with strange habits. Sukmuk, unfazed by his refusal, persisted, "It's okay if you don't have your phone. You can give me your phone number or WeChat ID, and I'll add you." Jin Wan, feeling a bit awkward, scratched his head and said, "My memory isn't very good. I don't remember my phone number." Sukmuk continued to press, "No problem. You can just show me your ID, and I'll have someone find your phone number for me." Jin Wan could only smile wryly, thinking, is this woman a police officer or something? Digging into personal information if being handsome was a crime, Jin Wan would be sentenced to death. Growing impatient, Jin Wan said, "Miss, you've really defeated me. If I add you on WeChat, would that not be enough?" Sukmuk, with a smug smile, replied, "I knew you were trying to trick me by not having your phone. It turns out the thing I fought for was indeed the best. Being proactive doesn't mean I'm a lecher." Jin Wan doesn't seem lecherous. He only has a few women at home, not many. It's just that he wants to spend money on women. The female MC introduced the next item for auction. Our next auction item is different from the previous ones. It's not a specific item, but rather the auction of a bankrupt company. Jin Wan was thrilled by this juicy opportunity, thinking to himself that this was the real highlight and true gem of the evening. The female MC continued, "The first company we're auctioning is Bikif. It was once among the top 5 livestream platforms in the country during its heyday, with a market value exceeding 1 billion. However, due to various reasons, it has declared bankruptcy. The starting bid is NDT 50 million. Jin Wan, having previously doubled the bid multiple times, found this round to be relatively easy. He raised his paddle and called out, 60 million. The audience fell silent, with no one making a sound. Jin Wan sensed something was off. Unlike previous auctions, where there was much excitement in bidding, this time there was an eerie quiet. Was Bikif truly so daunting? Jin Wan glanced around and saw the people behind him were visibly angry, struggling to contain their frustration and cursing him silently. They wondered what was up with his method of doubling the bid. Who would dare compete with him? They felt there was no point in bidding anymore. The auctioneer announced loudly, "Jin Wan at position 5 has bid 60 million. This is the third item he's won tonight. Such a display of grandiosity. Is there truly no one else interested in bidding? 60 million going once, 60 million going twice, 60 million sold." The hope was that Bikef would once again thrive under his leadership, returning to its former glory. Below, the old fox Han Samsu pondered something deeply. A private investigator sent a message about Jin Wan's real situation, noting that Jin Wan had been located. For more details, please call back. Han Samsu smirked, thinking, "Kaha, Jin Wan is it? I'll see how long you can remain so proud." Late in the evening of the auction, Outside, the old fox Hansamsu was already waiting and contacted someone. "It's me. What have you found out about Jinwon? Please provide all the details." As the auction neared its end, Hansamsu sneaked out to await further information, puffing on a cigarette. On the other end of the line, he received some information about Jinwon, a 21-year-old male from Maang County, Cheonmin, Hobuk. His parents were fruit farmers with a couple of fish ponds, an entirely ordinary farming family. In his younger years, Jinwon attended local elementary, middle, and high schools and went on to Hode University, also quite ordinary. There were no issues until the private investigator discovered something startling. Jinwon's bank account was a top VIP account, one of fewer than 50 in the world. This account had no payment limits and could transfer up to 10 billion at once. It was commonly used for large-scale national funding. Hansamsu, upon hearing this, reevaluated the information. "Ordinary family, my foot. What kind of international joke is this?" He thought about Jinwon's extravagant spending and artistic talents displayed during the auction and wondered if a child from a normal family could possess such financial power. A child from an ordinary family could gift someone hundreds of millions without blinking. The information on this person had to be tampered with. Realizing something was seriously amiss, Hansamsu broke into a cold sweat, terrified. What kind of terrifying family could have the power to alter government records? He didn't want anything to do with this frightening individual. Hansamsu shouted to immediately halt the investigation. "Stop immediately. Do you hear me?" The person on the other end responded, "Yes, sir." Hansamsu left in a hurry, panicked. He had almost caused a major incident. A man who had witnessed this scene recognized the problem. Hansamsu from the Han family was investigating Jinwon's background, and it seemed the results had frightened him. He went on to inform Dango Jeol about the incident. Dango Jeol pondered whether Jinwon might truly be a descendant of some hidden, powerful family. At a casual gathering after the auction, people were chatting and discussing. The man who had seen Hansamsu investigating Jinwon's background blurted out to his friends, "Do you know Jinwon? Actually, he's..." Rumors spread quickly, with each person passing on the gossip, exaggerating it further. One rumor turning into 10 into 100. On the other side, young Sobak, excited, ran up to Jang Hoxian and said, "I heard a rumor about Jinwon's background." Hoxian, who was engaged in conversation, turned eagerly to listen. "Oh, what did you hear?" Sobek continued, "I heard that Jinwon is from one of the 4 great mysterious families, the Hwaha family. This family is very enigmatic and has always remained hidden in the shadows. However, throughout history, their influence has been felt everywhere." Sobek continued, "It's said that Jinwon is the young master of the Hwaha family. His appearance might indicate that Hwaha has decided to step into the world. Big changes are coming." Jang Hoqian and the others, who were eavesdropping, were intrigued and fascinated. Jang Hoqian sighed, "No wonder Jinwon has such an extraordinary demeanor. It turns out he is truly from a hidden tycoon family. My family in Hanseong is nothing compared to such a powerful hidden family. Indeed, flattery wouldn't even be appropriate." In the conference hall, Jinwon also overheard the discussion about his supposed background as the heir of a hidden family. Feeling a bit awkward, he quietly slipped away, thinking, "Aren't my parents fruit farmers? You guys are really exaggerating." Meanwhile, from behind, a sweet and affectionate voice called out, "That's right, it's Jinwon." Jinwon turned to find a group of women surrounding him, pressing against him. They were sweet-talking and flirting. "Jinwon, can I invite you to dance? Here's my number. I'll be at 2706, waiting for you. I forgot my phone. Can I use yours to make a call? My cat is doing tricks. Would you like to come over and see?" Jinwon felt incredibly embarrassed and overwhelmed. He struggled to stay calm, but it was becoming almost unbearable. What was going on? The women, still surrounding Jinwon, wanted to catch his attention and impress him. They were all vying for his attention, each one trying to outdo the others. One girl suggested, "Let's go dance," while another offered, "You should dance with me first." Jinwon was both thrilled and distressed by the situation. He scanned the room frantically, trying to find a way out, And then he spotted Go Jeonyeom, who might have a solution. At Go Jeonyeom's side, she was chatting with someone when Jin Won saw an opportunity and wriggled free from the crowd of women. He apologetically said, "Sorry about that. I already have a dance partner over there. Let's catch up next time." Jin Won approached Go Jeonyeom, extending his hand and saying, "Excuse me, may I have the honor of inviting you to dance?" Go Jeonyeom was taken aback and thought, "Me?" She felt a mix of confusion and excitement. Should I decline? What if he's trying to take advantage of the situation? However, considering that Jin Won had just given her such an expensive necklace, she felt that refusing might not be the best course of action. Before she could respond, Jin Won decisively took her hand and wrapped his arm around her waist. Go Jeonyeom was startled by the suddenness of his action and gasped lightly. Blushing, she stammered, "Do you give me, what are you doing?" Jin Won switched into dance mode, holding her waist firmly, and said, "Tonight, I've already turned down 18 other ladies. Since you haven't said anything, I'm taking it as a yes." Jin Won activated his dance skills and the two moved together in a perfectly coordinated dance. Go Jeonyeom, observing him, thought to herself, "I thought he was just a newly wealthy guy, but he can dance as well." The close contact made Go Jeonyeom feel shy. His hands are so warm. Jin Won always did things that left her feeling off balance. Is this one of his bad habits? But oddly, she didn't really dislike it and even found herself enjoying the feeling. As Go Jeonyeom let go of her resistance and continued dancing with him, the system announced an increase in her favorability rating towards Jin Won, now at 60 points. The crowd's attention was drawn to the couple, Jin Won and the celebrity Go Jeonyeom. Among all the other couples, they were the most prominent. What a beautiful couple, people thought. I've only seen this kind of scene in movies. If I had been born 30 years earlier, I wouldn't have had a chance with that kid. Soo Muk, watching from the side, thought, so she's the girl he gave the necklace to. He noted that Jin Won seemed quite devoted and didn't appear to be bothered by Go Jeonyeom's scandals at all. Afterwards, all the beautiful women in the hall were swooning as if struck by Cupid's arrow, seeing Jin Won emerge from the screen like a real-life deity. Soo Muk continued to assess him, initially thinking that Jin Won would fall into the arms of the other women. It appeared he was truly a responsible man, a rare find. Soo Muk, not usually one to be envious, felt a twinge of jealousy. Why did he reject me and not Go Jeonyeom? She felt angry and mumbled to herself. Seeing Soo Muk sulking, Dango Jeol took the opportunity to approach her politely, saying, "May I invite you to dance?" Soo Muk stood up coldly, turning away to reply, "No, I don't know how to dance. Besides, I'm not interested in older men. Please stop trying to approach me." Dango Jeol was stunned by the harsh words. Older men? Dango Jeol, who was actually 30 years old, wondered how age could be used to judge him. He felt deeply hurt. After the dance, Jin Won checked the system and was pleased to find that his favorability rating had increased by 5 points. The dance was worth it. Meanwhile, Go Jeonyeom was still in a dreamy haze, her mind wandering. A voice called out, "Jin Won, wait a moment." Jin Won was surprised to hear this voice. Looking back, he saw Soo Muk, who, with a sweet demeanor, extended her hand and asked, "Would you like to dance with me?" The two brothers were internally distressed. Dango Jeol shouted, "Didn't you say you didn't know how to dance?" Wild Wolf Dang Suman cried out, "Do you understand how I feel now?" The younger brother was left with nothing as Jin Won danced with Soo Muk, while the older brother missed out entirely. Soo Muk actively approached Jin Won, wanting to dance with him. As someone already married, Jin Won did not want to get involved further. He politely declined, "I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired and not up for dancing anymore. I hope you understand." Soo Muk, puzzled, continued to cling to him and asked, "Can you answer a question for me?" Jin Won, feeling somewhat awkward with her persistence, thought that her determination might be better used in work. He pointed to a direction and said, "If you want to know more about me, let's talk over there." In the tea area, while Jin Won said he wanted to talk and get to know Soo Muk, he was preoccupied with his phone. Soo Muk, noticing that he was ignoring her, decided to take the initiative and asked, "Do you have a girlfriend?" I mean, is Go Jeonhyum your girlfriend? Jinwon replied, not at the moment. Why do you ask? Seok-muk saw this as an opportunity. Her face lit up with excitement, thinking that since there was no relationship yet, she still had a chance. She then asked, are you aware of Go Jeonhyum's scandals? Doesn't it bother you? Seok-muk raised her glass as if it were a microphone, asking him if it bothered him. Jinwon, still focused on his phone, casually said, it doesn't bother me. She can clear her name quickly. After all, I spend money on her. Seok-muk felt a bit displeased, questioning whether he was just like a sponsor for his girlfriend. It didn't sit right with her. She asked, how much have you spent on her? Jinwon answered nonchalantly, not too much, just a small amount. He continued, she asked for a luxury car, a high-end house, and 2 film investments worth NDT 500 million. I thought her requests were a bit low, so I doubled them for her. Seok-muk was taken aback, thinking, is this guy being seen as a fool? She then considered that someone from a wealthy background like him, who had been trained in various professional skills since childhood, might not understand the harsh realities of human nature. Imagining her future boyfriend being exploited by Go Jeonhyum, who might use him to cover large contract violations and impose excessive conditions, Seok-muk was furious and crushed her glass in anger. Seok-muk felt that Go Jeonhyum was taking advantage of Jinwon, and she questioned, don't you think Go Jeonhyum's demands are excessive? Jinwon, not seeing her expression, replied calmly, what's excessive about it? It's only natural for men to spend money on women. I've only transferred 200 million to her. Seok-muk, enraged, grabbed Jinwon's collar and shouted, 200 million isn't a small amount? She's already spent so much of your money and hasn't even confirmed a relationship with you. Can't you see she's playing games? She's just a scheming woman, you idiot. Jinwon calmly advised her, please don't be so agitated. You're getting worked up over something that hasn't even happened yet. If you bring her into the harem, and Jinwon starts acting all aloof, it's going to be a disaster. Seok-muk sighed, placing her hand on his chest and said, forget it. It's your freedom to spend money on whoever you want. But you should be careful. If not, sooner or later, you'll end up being at a disadvantage. Seeing her concern, Jinwon reassured her, we might have some misunderstandings. I'm not as foolish as you think. Jinwon looked at Seok-muk with an expression of pity, finding her response puzzling. Seok-muk, feeling anxious, thought, anyone who's blindly in love always believes they aren't the fool. Tears welled up in her eyes as she reflected, Jinwon is talented at playing the piano, wealthy, handsome. He meets all the criteria for a perfect man. Who would have thought someone so outstanding could be so naive? He's even more clueless than a middle school student. This fool can't see through a woman's intentions. The system then notified. Seok-muk's affection increased by 5 points. Seok-muk's affection increased by 5 points. Seok-muk's affection increased by 5 points. Current affection level, 45. Jinwon was alarmed to see her on the verge of tears, thinking, so even my suffering increases her affection? It's like she pities me for being deceived. Jinwon gave a sly smile, feeling like a wolf in sheep's clothing. Little did they know, he was the legendary player with a grand harem consisting of 4 major beauties, Soyaku, Jukki, Soarcrack, and recently Jinbing Seol. With Go Jeonhyum and Seok-muk potentially joining, things were only getting better. Jinwon's smile turned sinister as he thought, she has no idea of my true power and status. He then decided to change the subject. In the blink of an eye, Go Jeonhyum was nowhere to be seen. Seok-muk, feeling uncomfortable with Jinwon's constant mentions of Go Jeonhyum, said, it seems she's gone into the VIP room with the MC. You keep bringing up Go Jeonhyum. Didn't you hear what I just said? Jinwon, with a serious expression, said, I heard you. I just hope you don't badmouth me again. Don't you think the way you're acting now makes you look like a scheming woman? Hearing his words was like a bucket of cold water being thrown directly at Seok-muk. She was stunned, feeling hurt that her concern for him was misunderstood as being scheming. However, Seok-muk soon realized that this was just Jinwon's ploy. She looked at him with frustration and angrily stood up, turning to leave. Jinwon was puzzled by her reaction, thinking, women are really difficult to understand. Is she this angry? It's true that young ladies are hard to please. I'll have to keep my distance next time. As the evening auction ended and everyone began to leave, many important figures took the opportunity to bid farewell to Mr. Yen, saying things like, "Take care, Mr. Yen. Stay in touch, Mr. Yen. Please come visit my home when you have time, Mr. Yen." The ladies also took their turn to flirt. "Remember to message me on WeChat when you're free, Mr. Yen." Jinwon responded politely, "Certainly. Please be careful on your way." After seeing off the crowd, Jinwon prepared to leave but almost forgot he had given his car to Go Jeonyeom. He had no choice but to call a taxi. Meanwhile, Jang Ocheon arrived with someone. He said to Jinwon, "Today, our esteemed guest has really broadened my horizons." Hocheon patted the person beside him and introduced, "This is Juso Wee, my junior. I've brought him to meet you. Whether he succeeds or not depends on him." Soe looked up and stood there, embarrassed and trembling, without saying a word. Jinwon looked at them and asked, "What's so mysterious?" Soe stammered, "Mr. Yen is, well, my family has an office building for sale. Are you interested?" Jinwon immediately had an idea and exclaimed, "An office building?" Soe eagerly replied, "Yes, the whole building. It's about 40 floors, each floor is 1,000 square meters. My parents are moving to develop somewhere else, so they intend to sell it for about 2 billion. Jinwon felt something and noted, "Why are you not stammering anymore?" Jang Hocheon was shocked and thought, "Damn, 2 billion? I really didn't see this coming. Turns out this kid is also a billionaire." Jinwon took out his phone and said, "All right, add me as a friend. I'll come to take a look another day. Do you only have one building? If there are more, I can consider buying a few more to make it worth my money." Soe, sweating, quickly waved his hand and said, "No, there's only this one building." With trembling hands, Soe held up his phone and thought, "I originally thought Jinwon would only buy a few floors at most, but he wants to buy the whole building. What a show-off." Before leaving, Jinwon turned and said, "By the way, don't contact any other buyers. I don't like splitting parts with others when I buy things." Soe replied, all right. You're always so generous, Jinwon. I'll call my dad right away." The two of them linked arms and went inside. Hocheon, with a doubtful expression, said, "I didn't realize you were so rich, pretending to stammer all along, huh?" Soe replied, "Brother Hocheon, please don't tease me." At that moment, a taxi arrived. Jinwon opened the door and got in, but remained thoughtful, wondering, who should I give this building to? If it were an ordinary girl, she might be scared to death. I need to find someone with extremely strong psychological resilience. The taxi had just started moving when it suddenly stopped, causing Jinwon, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, to slam his face into the front seat. The driver stuck his head out and yelled, "Are you crazy? Trying to die or what? Are you insane?" In front of the car was Jinbing Seol, who had appeared out of nowhere, blocking the way. Jinwon was shocked. "Isn't this Jinbing Seol? What's she up to now?" Jinbing Seol quickly walked up, opened the door without saying a word, and sat in the back seat with Jinwon. Both Jinwon and the driver were puzzled by her sudden action. Jinbing Seol sternly ordered, "What are you staring at? Drive." The driver, sweating, turned his head and started driving again, silently cursing, "So fierce, this lady."